Here's an example of something I tried, and it's really very hard to pull, and it just doesn't stretch very much. So I couldn't find the right thing, and so we came up with our own.
Where is it? Where is our own?
Anybody know what I did?
We lost it. It's in your bag.
Anybody know what I did with my own? Oh, here it is. Oh, that's right. I put it in my pocket. That's what's so great about the SAKA Mini, is that you can store it and you forget where it is, especially at my age. Oh, shit. So I wanted a rope walker that would be very functional, very adjustable. We did some work and came up with our own bungee and came up with something that's very storable. We call it the SAKA Mini. I just happen to have one here in my pocket. Okay, so this is the SAKA Mini. It comes with my original design of a very simple foot loop. This is the SAKA foot loop by Climbing Innovations. It's designed to be very simple so that you can put it on your boot, and I leave it on my boot. If you can see, I've taken just a couple of the laces and I've put over the elastic. The elastic here is intended just to keep it in place. There's a structural webbing strap right here that you can attach to. Whether you're using the ARB Pro boots or other boots that might have a loop on the top, or whether you're using the foot loop for the SAKA, you can attach to any one of those points. And so with the SAKA Mini, you don't have to buy any other version. This one version comes capable of connecting to any boot or connecting to the foot loop if you'd like. I'm going to include in that the SAKA Carabiner. Some people kind of like that because it's a little bit bigger. It does have a hook on the nose. If you want to make it really easy to come on and off, you can just grind that off. But it's rated up to 22 kilonewtons, much more than you'd ever need while you're stepping on anything. So you can use that, or you can use our own version of a small carabiner to go on that foot loop. Makes it nice and light. One of the features of the SAKA Mini is that I have developed a load-bearing buckle. This load-bearing buckle we've tested to about 1,500 pounds. And so what that does is it allows you to adjust the length of your step to just about anything that you want. And any step that would be, well, I'm not flexible enough, but as high as anybody would ever want to step, you can adjust the length to that. Say you're going to use it on a regular working basis and you want to have a shorter, more comfortable stride that would be a little bit better on your body, so you can shorten it up for a shorter stride. Say it's for a smaller person or a person that is making smaller strides. It just makes it really easy to adjust the length between the top of your foot and the ascender to any length that you want. And the super stretch bungee. So we went through tons of bungee to try to find the right bungee, and this is what makes the SAKA Mini different and an improvement over anything else that was out there, is that this is super stretchy bungee. It gives a strength of about 2 to 3 pounds, depending on the length, of course, but it's just the right amount of stretch for a rope walker, and it's got a huge amount of stretch. You can see that that's tightened off pretty close right there, and I still come out and get a pretty full stride. If somebody wanted, this has got enough bungee that once that's set down to your boot, you could go clear over your head with it. So that's what makes this really functional, is the super stretch, really awesome bungee that, combined with the adjustable buckle, adjustable length for the stride, and the super stretch bungee, just makes the SAKA Mini very light, very portable, and very functional. What I do is I tuck the tail back through itself, kind of get some of the length out of the way if you don't want the length. Comes with the SAKA Ascender, has a good spring action and a progressive tooth pattern. So what we've done with the SAKA, and again, it's designed for the knee ascender and for a foot ascender. But notice on the SAKA, the teeth have an incline to the cam at this half that's quite aggressive, and this is primarily so that it makes sure that the rope is engaged. Then lower down on the cam, they're more perpendicular. So you can see that they're more perpendicular and less aggressive at the lower part of the cam where the rope would already be engaged. In other words, this is where they're more aggressive, and so that's where the rope will be engaged. Once that rope gets engaged, then it's held with the less aggressive teeth. And then up at the top, wherever you want to attach, I find a girth hitch. Let me tie that girth hitch. I find a girth hitch works very well with this. So I just put the girth hitch on there and snug that down. It makes it easy to adjust. If I ever want to adjust it, I just open up that girth hitch and I can adjust the length. So I have a lot of adjustment in the length of the bungee, and I have all kinds of adjustment in the length of the load-bearing member. So some of you that are using a grippy glove, I used a wrist rocket often, but if you're using just a grippy glove, it's very convenient just to take the small carabiner, and you can put it right through. If you put a small hole in your glove, you can put it right through. So when you're climbing up the, because of that extra stretch in the bungee, you don't actually even have to make sure that your stride is right on. Now, some of you are asking, how far can you reach with that? And I'm 6'1", so there's enough bungee to get any kind of a stretch that you might want out of your step. Some time ago, JB Holdway always comes up with great ideas, but he came up with the idea of putting one of these keychain keepers on the handsaw. And so I put that on. I changed out the line a little bit so I could get a little more stretch in it, but I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And of course, the thought process automatically went to bungee, rope walker, and all of that. And I had already started down the path of the SAKA Mini, and this one wasn't quite strong enough. Now I've become aware of others that are a little bit stronger. So this is not included, but I'll put a link on the page. There's always been the keychain holders, or gear holders, and in the past they were never quite, what I could find, were never quite strong enough or long enough to function with something like this. So now that they've started to get some of these gear retractors so much more functional, you can attach this up to your harness and get a reasonable stride right off of the ascender. So by putting that on your chest harness, or even down here on your belt, you can get a reasonable step. So if I shorten this up, and I could go a little shorter than that, that's probably still kind of long, but if I go that length and then I attach here on my chest harness someplace in my bridge, I can still get a reasonable step without having to worry about a zero length bungee. Obviously you can't get any stretch from a zero length bungee. So in an attempt to try to make an improvement on that, I've gone through some things in introducing the SAKA Mini, but I went through tons and tons of bungee trying to find an improved bungee, and every time I do it, I just couldn't find the right stuff. It wouldn't give me the right stretch. And I went through a lot of bungee to try to find the right stuff, and I just never could. So when I'm going up the rope, see that? When I'm going up the rope, it just takes that with me. The advantage to having that stretch in the bungee is that I don't have to have a perfectly matched stride when I'm going up the rope. And before I do that, I just want to mention a couple of things about the evolution of rope walking. Rope walking has been going on for, I don't know, a very long time. Guys have been doing it for caving and everything else, but this was one of the original rope walkers that kind of brought us to where we are today in the tree climbing community. This was an innovation by Jerry Brennick, called the double rope walker. Used a foot loop, Dyneema, a sender, and a bungee. You basically put it on your foot, you get an adjustment, and you could put this part on the standing part of your rope and walk up the tree. So it was very functional, and you can see the stretch in the bungee. From that, we have the next innovative concept that you can see came from the basics of that, but the idea was that the bungee would coincide. It was a fixed end with a free end and go inside the load-bearing member of the rope. And so by doing that, we're actually getting a little bit more bungee to use in the rope walking system. Let me show you what that stretch looked like. So you can see I've taken the two rope walkers side by side, and I've adjusted the foot loop so that the ascenders are sitting at about the same height. And when I stretch the original rope walker, I come up to about here. And when I stretch the newer generation of rope walker, I come up to here. So we've got a better stretch and a better stride out of the rope walking system. Again, using the same length, I go to here with this product, and I go all the way up to here with the SAKA Mini. So by comparison, you can see that we're getting much more usable stretch from the bungee.
Terminated at where that's terminated?
Mm-hmm. So we have those at the same spot, and so Josh is going to lift his up, I'm going to lift mine up, and we're pretty much going to the same spot.
Yeah, but this is, when I get to there, I'm putting in a lot of energy.
Yeah, and this goes up and then pretty much stops. But we're getting the same thing out of that compared to this. Mm-hmm. I'm using often my wrist rocket, and it has a webbing loop runner on the ascender, and so what I can do, we use this for a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage sometimes, but it's very easy to put that carabiner through the loop of the loop runner. So when I'm going up the rope, see that? When I'm going up the rope, it just takes that with me. The advantage to having that stretch in the bungee is that I don't have to have a perfectly matched stride when I'm going up the rope. If you have a bungee that doesn't have much stretch, then your stride has to be totally matched with your hands. If you're not that coordinated, if your hands get out of stride with your feet, it doesn't matter that much because you have the constant pull of the bungee.